Engineering shift leader. Ahmed stared at the shuttle pilot, his mouth working silently as he tried to remember how to speak. Say that again? Only a little bit less shocked, Julian glanced at the message log as if to reassure himself that he had heard what he thought he did, and there it glowed, the little green alien head icon of the Xeno contact protocol, along with reams of text outlining the details of the protocol and what it involved. He coughed to clear his throat before speaking again. The Xeno contact protocol has been activated. Chief James has also just confirmed that the ship we are headed to isn't human in origin. Ahmed blinked slowly. Oh man, why did it have to be me? Okay. So, alien vessel recovery. Great. No problem. His fingers tapped against the armrest of the flight couch, making clacking noises as the pressure gauntlet gently struck the interface terminal embedded in the armrest. Suddenly he froze. Didn't they crash out of hyperspace after hitting interference from our MiG drone slip drives? His face shot over towards the pilot. Julian, please tell me they don't think we intentionally pulled them out of hyperspace and stranded them here. Julian took in a breath to reply, but then Ahmed groaned and flung his helmeted head back into the headrest. And now we're flying out in a shuttle to finish them off. Julian took in another breath, but was cut off again, this time by a chuckle from the other person in the cockpit, Dr. White, leader of the medical team. I'm sure the captain is doing all she can to ensure we aren't blasted out of space by ray guns, Ahmed. I'm more worried about how long we're going to have to sit in quarantine when we get back after potentially being exposed to who knows what while we are over there. A wry smile took some of the tension out of the air as he continued. I don't know about you, but I didn't even bring a pack of cards. Ahmed, slightly deflated, shook his head. Damn, I didn't even think of that. Dr. White chuckled again. Although I suppose never having to pay for a drink ever again after having your picture plastered across every news channel in human space as the first person to make contact with an alien race might make up for it. Julian grinned as Ahmed pursed his lips at the prospect of a lifetime of free drinks. Okay, I've reconsidered. It is my solemn duty as a representative of humanity and lead engineer of this rescue flight to extend the hand of friendship to our new alien friends. Whatever you do, though, don't do a Kirk, or the captain will never let you out of quarantine, smirked Julian. A good point. Well made. Let's keep this above board and according to protocol. Speaking of which, as much as I love our yearly drills on contact procedure, we don't exactly have a manual for this. Any thoughts? Ahmed asked. Well, that's where you're wrong. We don't pay our taxes for the Human Space Administration to sit around twiddling their thumbs. Julian scrolled through the data packet and highlighted one of the numerous contact scenarios that had been flagged by the bridge crew of the Patient Anvil. He pinged it over to Ahmed and White. Potentially hostile action resulting from accidental damage to Xeno ship during rescue action, White read out. I'm kind of impressed and also terrified that people sit around thinking of these things. Ahmed was busy reading through the initial steps. Okay, says here to maintain a steady approach, ideally along a vector which doesn't approach from the rear. Use active running lights. Fully open communication of the included contact message. Crew fully suited and craft atmosphere drained. That's going to be a pain to recertify. Here we go. If no communication can be established, undertake passive observations of Xeno craft condition before attempting to stabilize using minimum necessary tractor power. If craft appears structurally unsound, use active scanning. If too damaged for tractor, to match course and use tractors to ensure safe passage through any debris or other obstructions by clearing flight path while attempting to raise communications. Julian nodded as he checked the seals and indicators of his pressure suit, while keying the alert for imminent loss of pressure. Several moments later, the passengers all signaled ready for depressurization, and he triggered the atmospheric pumps. As the air whisked out of the cockpit and into storage tanks, Julian adjusted course to something he hoped looked friendlier and triggered the recommended communication package. "Okay, all set," he announced. "ETE, 12 minutes since we will be taking a nice slow vector and will be coasting the last bit due to the hyperspace interference in the mining zone and can't use our skip drive." Back on the Patient Anvil, Captain Rosalind had been watching the shuttle race along the boundary of hyperspace before changing course and slowing down in accordance with the contact protocol. She nodded slowly as Kim relayed the shuttle pilot's confirmation that the protocol activation was understood. "Very good. Have you been able to work out where it came from and where it might have been going?" Kat nodded. "It isn't 100%, but a straight-line approximation has it coming from somewhere near the southern edge of the Uni Nebula. We don't have anything out that way as far as I know. We are pretty much the closest human presence by a considerable margin. As to where it was going, unsure. There isn't too much in the direction it was headed other than open space until you hit the next spiral arm over. Not that we have the right sensors for it, but I can't see anything else moving or emitting signals in either direction." "Thanks, Kat. Amy, what can you tell me about the makeup of that ship? Is there anything that might cause us trouble?" Amy looked up from the complex spectrographic plots, gravimetric data, and reams of other information that had been pouring in since they realized the ship wasn't human-made. "Well, it is mainly non-metallic on the outside, some kind of carbon lattice. Overall, the ship seems to be pretty light for its size. Approximate mass of 400 kT, main axis length 300 am, diameter 100 m at the widest point. Energy readings are still unstable, but seem to be mostly emanating from the center of the widest point of the ship, radiating some significant heat, but that might be shedding of energy from their transition. That's about it at the moment." "Thanks, Amy." "James, threat assessment?" James pursed his lips. "Nothing concrete, Captain. I can't see any obvious weapon ports, or indeed any openings at all. There is a weak EM field around the ship, but it looks like it might just be a charged particle screen. No shields up yet, though they may still be recovering from the crash translation back into real space and not have gotten around to it yet. No signs of any thrusters or other types of propulsion, so I would guess it relies on some kind of skip drive for the majority of its in-system movement, like we do. Obviously unusual for a ship that small. Well, unusual for a human ship anyway. Not much else I can say yet. We might have more once the shuttle can get a closer look." "And how are we doing with the drones, Miles?" Miles grimaced. "I've shut down as many as I could, but several hundred are not responding to commands and still have active drives. Their communication systems must have been fried. Most of them were far enough away not to just get destroyed outright by the translation discharge, but not so far away they only got lightly singed. We will need to pilot drones out to manually deactivate them ideally, although if need be, we could use lasers to just fuse them, but I would only recommend that in an emergency." "Great, thanks, Miles. Leave them for now and we can attempt recovery later, once our mystery guest has hopefully been rescued." Internally, she added, "and hopefully avoid starting Interstellar War 1 in the meantime," sighed Rosalind, her racing mind calming somewhat as the familiar pattern of the ship and crew brought her back down to the deck. She flipped through several screens of text outlining the closest scenario for what they had unwittingly set in motion and the recommended way of charting a course through to a positive outcome. Always in one corner of her display, she kept the visual and sensor feed of the alien ship and the slowly approaching shuttle.